Wednesday, and that means plants and garden expert Craig Hignight is here joining us to take all of your burning questions that you have. Yeah, we're joining you from the kitchen.
From the kitchen. Well,
kitchen patio.
I pulled up during that cloud burst.
Oh, yeah.
I could hardly see the station from a block away.
I know.
You know.
Isn't this weather just crazy?
Hey, we'll take all the rain we can get right now.
Especially for the green thumbers, right?
That's it.
All right, let's get to our questions. So, when do you cut mums down?
Mums don't get cut down until next spring. We leave them standing. You can take the flowers off, but leave the plants intact until about Mother's Day next year, and then take them down to about 3 inches above the ground.
Also, when can I prune a crabapple tree?
Crabapples, keep those pruners in your pocket for right now. We aren't going to prune on fruit trees, and crabapples are technically a fruit tree, after the first of the year. Wait until February when we probably get a decent day where you won't freeze to death, but wait until after January 1st.
Best way to get rid of a mole?
Well, the best way to get rid of a mole is to use the Mole Max to go ahead and not kill him. You're just going to shoo him away. When you put Mole Max down the right way, it moves him off your property. He just becomes somebody else's problem at that point.
This is from Chad. Can mint be transplanted into pots this time of year, and what are the steps to do it?
Oh, mint can be potted up anytime. It is a virtual weed. And remember, next spring, that mint is still going to be in your garden. It is quite invasive in this area, but potted up a well-draining potting soil, pots with drainage holes, and it has to have the sunniest window in your house for the winter to grow.
All right, this one says, can I dig up a hibiscus? I said that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and bring it in for the winter to transplant in the spring?
Well, it's going to go through quite a bit of root damage, but yes, they can be dug up. Trim the root ball down quite a bit, get it into a pot, a well-draining potting soil, in a pot with the drainage hole. And again, this is one of those plants. These outdoor plants require as much light as you can possibly give them during the winter. Watch your watering after you damage that root system. It might take a while for the plant to get its roots up and running again with the darker days of winter coming on us now.
Someone says they have a crabapple tree that looks like it's dying. Is there anything they can do?
Well, the important thing is next spring, go ahead and do a little pruning, maybe thin it out a little bit. You could go ahead after petal drop and put some fruit tree spray on it. You'd spray about every 10 days for 5 sprays in a row. Make sure that in the spring you put some fertilizer around the tree. And right now, with most everything in our yard, if we don't get all the rain that is predicted, make sure that you get these plants well watered before the ground freezes out around Christmas time.
All right, this one says, I have a streptocarpella that I want to bring inside. Can I overwinter it, or what do I need to do?
Oh, I've had great luck with the streptocarpella. It's a first cousin to an African violet. It does require a little more light than an African violet does, but remember, being in the violet family, they don't mind drying down a little bit, but I've had it bloom just wonderfully all winter long. Mine was in either a south or a west window, as I remember.
This is from Ann. As I'm getting my gardens ready for winter, I'm wondering, what should I do with lamb's ear? Do I trim off all the leaves and cut it back close to the ground like other plants, or do I just leave it alone?
Either route will work. You can either cut it back now or wait until spring. Lamb's ear is quite hardy in this area, so if you're a clean freak in your garden and you want everything clean when winter gets here, trim back now, or you could let it go until spring, and that lets the good insects use that cover to get through the winter.
All right, I don't know if this is a comical question, but it says, when it's dry outside, do I need to water my grass?
Well, I've never been a great grass waterer, but you know, with trees and shrubs, yes, but it all depends. This time of the year, your lawn is going dormant anyway. And it's like any other time of the year, if we don't get rain for about 14 days, yes, you could give the lawn some water to help it build up and be prepared to go into winter and look its best when spring finally gets here.
From Sue, when can you cut back or prune yew shrubs?
Use, again, let's wait until the ground gets a little bit colder. We'll probably wait until maybe early November. I don't think we're going to get a long, warm fall. It's just not in the cards. But you don't want to prune until the ground has started to cool down. Wait until early November.
All right, this one says, evergreen bush taking over driveway and sidewalk. Can you shape it small or will it die?
Well, it all depends on the type of evergreen. Yews and junipers will go ahead and they will actually sprout from that heavy, what looks like dead wood, but wood that does not have needles on it. If it's a pine tree, sorry, you cut back into wood with no needles on it, that branch is gone.
All right, continue to send in your questions to our WQAD Facebook page. We're going to try to get to them right after the break. Stay with us.
And again, you're bringing in all these plants, people that need as much light as you can possibly give them. And on that miniature rose, it is a magnet for spider mite. Actually, if you had an area outside, this is the perfect time to actually go out and plant that in the yard somewhere. It will come through the winter just fine if you keep it in the house. Do all the basic things, water well, drain the excess, keep an eye out for the spider mites.
Can you bring in lantana and will it survive the winter inside?
It's not going to be thrilled, but like I say, you can always try and keep the carcass alive. The important thing is, remember, lantana is one of those plants that it doesn't mind drying down a little bit between watering, so you water thoroughly, always draining the excess. Never let water stand under that plant where it can soak back up into the soil. And with so many things, turn the pot a quarter turn every couple of 3 days. Only the side facing the window is going to get the best light.
That's a good point. Sue is asking, can coneflower be transplanted right now?
Coneflower is pretty hardy. I think if you got it out of the ground and back in the ground quickly, it should come through the winter just fine.
All right. Is it possible to winter geraniums, and what is the process of preparing?
Oh, geraniums, they would like bright light. They don't necessarily have to have direct sunlight. I've even had people do them under lights. Just remember, you need the lights on for 12 to 16 hours a day. I'd bring them in. Again, you run them to the dry side between waterings, and don't prune them, or if you prune them now, re-prune them the 1st of March next year. It takes 8 weeks to get blooms to develop after you prune on a geranium, so you don't want to wait until it goes out in the spring, or you won't see a flower until July.
From Kathy, do you trim off the leaves on strawberry plants before mulching them?
No. Strawberries, if they were going to be mowed down, you do that in mid-June. Right now, you leave everything that's there. And yes, you better have a bale of straw available, because eventually we're going to get down to 20 degrees, and they have to be covered before we hit 20 degrees this winter.
All right. Do you see anything else that you can think of? If not, any other tips that you have for people this time of year?
Well, the important thing is, and I'm getting ready to do the same thing, I'm bringing in a couple of hibiscus. We were going to let Mother Nature take them, but we're bringing them in. They're actually going to live in the garage, and we're using an artificial light setup. And it will run for 12 to 16 hours a day. We'll run them dry, and they're, like I say, so many times when you're keeping a plant from one year to the next, you just try to keep the carcass alive.
All right.
Nice.
Yes. Thank you so much, Craig, as always, for coming in. And you can be sure to join our Facebook Live with Craig each and every Wednesday. There you can submit your questions and be part of the conversation. Well, here's a live look from our Bridgepoint camera in downtown Moline. GMQC at 11. We'll be right back. But first, let's send it over to DeMarco Morgan and Eva Pilgrim with a look at what's coming up on GMA3. Hey, guys.